Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. As we compare the experience of the children of Israel in the wilderness that we're reading about in Numbers and the experience of David in the wilderness of Judah that we read about in Psalm 63, we see a great contrast and we see what a difference faith can make. With the children of Israel in the book of Numbers, we find that they are lacking faith. They didn't enter into the land because they didn't believe that God would help them overtake the enemies of the land. We see them constantly doubting God and doubting their purpose and their journey, not walking by faith at all, and they're completely miserable. They're self-interested, they're self-invested, and it's leading them to become very much dispirited and complaining there in the wilderness. But for David in Psalm 63, we see a man who encounters the wilderness and even says while he's there that he found himself in a dry and weary land without water, similar to what the Israelites had experienced. But for him, this place was a place for seeking God, and it was a place of worship. He says in verse 1, "O God, you are my God, I shall seek you earnestly. My soul thirsts for you, my flesh yearns for you, in a dry and weary land without water." And then he goes on to talk about, "I will lift up my hands in your name. My soul is satisfied with fatness and richness, and my mouth offers praises with lips of joyful songs." That's David's response to the wilderness, is just trusting in the Lord, loving the Lord, seeking the Lord, placing his faith in the Lord, and just opening up his heart to the Lord. And he's finding that even though he might find himself in a dry and weary land without water physically, spiritually, he's just filled to the brim. He says that he's satisfied with fatness and richness. His soul was just completely and absolutely satisfied because he was engaging in that situation with faith and with love towards God and seeking God. And so we can see the contrast again between these two different experiences. And the same thing is true with us. There's times when we enter into wilderness experiences. Now, we may not be literally in a wilderness where there's no water and things like that, but we do enter into dry places in life. We enter into challenging places of life. We enter into various testings and trials in life, and they become very difficult and very trying, absolutely. And there's basically two ways that we can encounter those types of situations. And we see that again in our reading today. We can either encounter those situations without faith, without trust, without seeking the Lord, just sulking in our own self-despair and focused on ourselves and what we're experiencing. Or we can lift our eyes up to the Lord and say, you know what, in this dry and thirsty and weary land, I'm going to seek the Lord. And through seeking the Lord and worshiping the Lord and praising God, I will find that my soul is satisfied. My soul is satisfied as with fatness and riches, and my mouth offers praises with lips of joyful songs. Wouldn't that be a much better way of encountering the challenges of life, the difficult situations we find ourselves in? That seems to be a much more pleasant way to have to deal with these real challenging situations we find ourselves in oftentimes when we find ourselves in the wilderness. And so hopefully as we do our reading today, we'll hold these two things in our mind. Considering what the children of Israel were going through in the wilderness and how they were responding, and then considering what David was going through when he was in the wilderness of Judah and how he was responding, and use that to encourage us to say, you know what, we don't want to go the way that the children of Israel went. We want to go the way of faith. We want to go the way of praise and worship, the way that David responded. And hopefully, again, our reading will help us and inspire us to do that very thing. So these are the things we can reflect on and think about as we do our reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.